Hey all, big round of applause for Stage Mother and the drive-in theater. Hopefully y'all had as good of a time as we did. We're so excited to have people with us from the film Stage Mother. I'm going to bring them on. Thom Fitzgerald, the director. Thank you so much for being here, Thom, from Halifax.
Hey, Joe.
We have Brad Henning joining us from San Francisco, the writer of Stage Mother. Brad, hello.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you again for being here. Allister. Welcome, Allister. Plays Joan of Arkansas. Thank you for being here. Allister also from Toronto, but is currently joining us from Halifax. Thank you for being here. We have Jacki Weaver, drag legend and Dusty Muffin, joining us from LA. Jacki, hello.
Thrilled to be here.
We're so glad to have you. We have Oscar Moreno, Tequila Mockingbird. Kisses to all. Thank you.
Greetings.
Well, we're so excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for allowing us to open the festival. We couldn't think of a better opening night. It had a little bit of everything. I always say we laughed, we cried, we wrote letters home. It just really did have a little bit of everything. So thank you for making the film and then again letting us present it. Let's start there. I think the audience had a lot of fun. Granted, there were certainly some meaning to the film, but it was a lot.
Joe, you froze.
It was.
We lost you, Joe.
Oh,
We all
back?
thank you, Joe.
It was a lot of what? I'm dying to know.
You looked
Yeah,
enthusiastic.
Are we all back? Thank you for your patience during these technical issues that seem to be happening more tonight than they've had in a long time. But Thom, was it as much fun to make as it was for us to watch?
Oh, hell no. Are you kidding me? You try to corral these queens like feral cats all day long. It was all right. It was kind of like being at a gay bar, just never going home for 2 months.
Brad, any thoughts on that?
Pretty accurate.
For all those people who may have never been into a gay bar, that's a good thing, right?
No, it was actually a lot of fun to make. Thom is a wonderful director and such a calming presence on the set. He made it fun for all of us.
Totally.
Jacki didn't have any fun.
I think Jacki has fun wherever she goes.
You know, my attitude is if you think drag is fun, you're doing it wrong.
Well, that's funny. That's sort of the next question. And to Allister and Oscar, who are actors, but probably some pretty, crazy things. Have you ever done drag? And was it? Because I don't ever think of it as easy. Was it as sort of difficult as I imagine it is with the makeup and the personas and?
Well, go ahead. Oh, Canada.
I was I ran off to Halifax when I was 18, 19 years old and became a drag queen. And my drag mother was Elle Noir, who actually 10 years later was head of makeup on set. So for me as an actor, 10 years later to work on a film and to have not done drag in literally years, and I was terrible at it when I did it, to have my drag mother and someone I love so much. She's also in the film. She opens the film with a drag number. To have her do my face and, of course, set me up. And it felt like I was returning to a past life.
And for me, honestly, the only sort of, and I wouldn't call it drag because literally I just wore heels, was during a fringe show that I was doing before I ended up auditioning for this film. And it was because of that connection that I guess I felt I had enough drag experience to give it a whirl. But I mean, it's definitely helped, especially meeting everybody on set and seeing how much just attention everything needed. It truly makes me appreciate even more all the hard work that goes into, because you basically have to be like a one-man theater company, right? You have to do makeup, costume, choreography, performance, music selection, just everything. You're your own artistic director. So Brava to the queens out there.
Well, there's a word for that: control freak.
And Jackie, how did you feel on set where it's sort of old hat for you?
How did I feel doing drag for the very first time in stage?
I sort of meant the opposite of that. Like it's it's every day.
It may be old hat, but it's a purple faux fur, fabulous old hat. I had so much fun, and half the fun was watching these actors doing drag, either for the first time or the first time to that level, because a lot of people do drag for fun, and for a lot of gay men, doing drag is sort of a rite of passage. I mean, the very first time I ever did drag was on Halloween, and I just noticed that I did it with an intensity and an attention to detail that the rest of my friends didn't. So,
right.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to lose control. I just didn't realize it was going to be this early. So, Thom, talk a little bit about the process of making the movie, of casting these wonderful actors, sort of working with Brad to write, and were there rewrites? Talk a little bit about how the film came from the page to the screen.
Well, Brad's script was both hilarious and very moving, so I knew I wanted to do it. I think the first actor who came to the project was Jacki Weaver. She lives in LA now. I live in Nova Scotia, so we decided to meet in New York for brunch. She got me very, very drunk and kept me drunk for about 3 days. And then she gave me her autobiography, which had a chapter called The Smallest Fag Hag in Australia. And I knew she was our perfect Maybelline. And once Jackie was playing Maybelline, of course, everybody wanted to work with Jacki Weaver, so it became very easy. And I always knew Lucy Liu would make the perfect ditzy blonde, so that was just obvious.
All right, Brad, talk a little bit about the script and writing the script, and was it based on a bunch of people? Was it based on any real characters? You don't have to mention who, but tell us a little bit about the story.
Well, actually, I got the idea to write the script from Facebook because I grew up in the rhinestone of the buckle of the Bible Belt in Texas, and I now live in San Francisco. But the parallels stop there. I actually have never done drag because I would be terrible at it. But I have friends who are drag queens, and I still have friends from high school on my Facebook feed that are posting from church suppers, and I noticed that I would see back-to-back posts from drag queens and church ladies, and I noticed that there were actually a lot of similarities, not only in the way that they looked, but in that they sort of had a family feel for the place that they were posting from, and then from their community. So I knew I wanted to write a lead role for a woman of a certain age, and so I wanted to marry those two worlds, and then did a lot of research in drag bars after that. And Stage Mother was born.
Well, we're glad it was. Jacki Weaver seems very motherly, and on screen that's how she's portrayed. Again, no trade secrets, but was she that sort of nurturing, kind, what you see is what you get? Any fun Jacki Weaver stories?
I mean, the thing was, I sort of knew who Jacki Weaver was, but it wasn't until we were on set that I watched Animal Kingdom. And I don't know if you guys have watched that, but it was 2 or 3 days in, and then I saw that film and I was like, Jacki, you are not the girl I thought you were. She's she could be vicious, but of course in the film. So I was just after even watching that, and I started watching Blood Talk and just immersing myself in her resume basically. And then I was like, okay, this girl, I could really get to really know well.
My first day on set was with Jacki in the intervention scene, which is a very emotional. It was a long day of shooting, and I was terrified because I'd also seen Animal Kingdom, and I was like, she is a scary stage mother. frightening. I was like, who am I to go work with this woman? But you know, we were setting up a shot, and I was like, oh, I love your nail colors. And she was like, thanks. It's called I'm not just a waitress. I usually wear black because I want people to know that Granny likes to fuck. I was like, oh my God, who is this woman? And after that, you know, we shot some emotional stuff, and between each take, you know, she'd come and cradle my head in her hands and just kiss my cheek and tell me, you know, how well the scene was going. She was so there for me in a way I did not anticipate. And she is as lovely and as amazing as you could imagine after watching this film, honestly.
She said in interviews that she fell in love with Thom Fitzgerald almost instantaneously when she met him. And so, I mean, it really was evident on the set. I mean, I can't say enough good things about her. She was, you know, in every scene and would work 12-hour days. And she's the fastest costume changer I've ever seen because she comes from the world of theater. So, I mean, she's just an amazing actress, and I love working with her.
It's funny because, Allister, you mentioned Animal Kingdom, and I didn't even think of Jacki Weaver Animal Kingdom. I thought of Jacki Weaver, you know, stage mother, and so now I'm going to look at the movie a little differently. But and just I wanted to read a few comments. What a great movie that was! An amazing movie, you guys. Congrats! Amazing! All caps! Exclamation! 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 We love this movie so much. Thank you. You guys did an amazing job organizing this. I guess that was for us. It's so much fun. Love the movie. So obviously, people liked it as much as we did. So, you know, thank you again. Let's see who answers this. Who was the troublemaker? Who was the one always, you know, sort of getting
There was a lot of arguing on set over which Jackie was actually portraying the titular stage mother of the film. And they were certainly
Answer to that.
foils for one another, I would
And
say.
it's based on the one that's here right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The titular girl is right on the middle square.
I think whichever one is in the room at the moment is the winner.
Well, so you all could give and take. I like that. And
No, maybe I missed it, but I don't think there was much drama. Everybody, I don't know, everybody just had the best attitude and the best work ethic, and there was just a real family feel. It was just such a labor of love, and people overuse that phrase all the time, but it really was, because I think so many people involved, you know, related to the idea of chosen family. And for the time of, you know, for that brief period of shooting, we were forced family.
That's the thing about shooting in a sort of, the cast was gathered from all over the world, so no one ever got to go home at the end of the day. Everyone just kept staying until the wee hours in our pretend drag bar. So they actually became as dependent on each other, codependent in an unhealthy way, as the characters were.
had anyone? I know Thom and Brad worked together a lot. Has anyone else on the cast worked with anyone else on the cast? Or you like new to each other?
Well, believe it or not, I don't know if I've told anyone this, but Oscar and I went to the same theater school. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen Oscar around
Yeah.
2012, so we knew one another. And I've
Yeah.
done 4 projects with Thom prior to this.
For some reason, I find that I seldom work with people more than once.
Can anyone else answer as to why that might be the case?
That's not true. They're already talking about Stage Mother 2, Dusty's Revenge.
Let's get to like the serious side, if that's at all possible with this group. But talk a little bit about, you know, what you'd like people. I know the movie's opening and it's doing a run in the Midwest, which is what we call the sort of the Bible Belt here in the States. But what are some of those things you hope those people who may not be as progressive as our audience, what are some of those takeaways? What are the things you hope they get from the movie?
Well, since I grew up with those people, and am still in touch with a lot of them, I want them to have the takeaway that, you know, we're more alike than we think we are. I also would like a lot of women of a certain age from those conservative parts of the country to see the movie, perhaps without their husbands, because I actually feel like they're the key to uniting us in the country. A lot of the women are more reachable in terms of being tolerant. That's my own personal opinion. And I actually see evidence of that on Facebook in terms of, you know, we're very divided, but I think the bridge could be, you know, women of a certain age who perhaps, you know, have kids or relatives who are LGBTQ. And I hope they see the movie, and I hope they don't feel like they've been beat over the head with a lesson or anything. I hope it's felt good when they're done, and it will be subtle changes from them, but that's my hope.
Thom?
For
I
me,
love that.
I think that if there's a lesson to emulate in the film, it's that it may seem to be too late to learn to love better, to put aside, you know, those differences you have with someone you love because of a past mistake or an identity difference, and it really is always possible to through being more open to love, become more the person you always wanted to be.
I know we're getting serious, but I think the ultimate message of the movie is obviously tip your fucking drag queen. Will you?
God, is the poster already done? That sounds like a great tagline for our poster.
Tip your fucking drag queens.
They picked the wrong host because you lost control. What is there a favorite moment, like a scene that either, you know, a scene you're in or a scene you're not in, that you can just look at and that really sort of resonates with you, be it a glance or, you know, is there a moment in the film you have like, this is what it's all about moment? Allie?
For me, something that really resonates with me, I grew up in a tiny, tiny town in Nova Scotia, and I was afraid of straight men my whole life. And there's just something so powerful to me when Jacki looks her husband dead in the eye and says, "I'm not looking at our son through your frightened eyes." Every time I see that moment, I don't know, I well up, and I feel so proud of her. For me, that sums up the entire film. I love that moment so much.
I agree, and on a similar note, one of my favorite things, you're going to be shocked, it's not a scene I'm in. I just adore the flashbacks that show the, like, almost sacred relationship between, you know, a gay boy and his mother. And it's so important to the story, in my opinion, because it shows that, you know, they were once, you know, really a team, and you can never break that bond, if you will. So I think that those scenes really, really touch me.
On that sort of note, the part that I sort of really like is when she has that moment with like Tequila's mother, and sort of advises her to not make the same mistake that she had done, because ultimately I think, and I hope that this is the film as a whole serves as that sort of message, like Brad was saying, to the sort of more conservative parts of the country, and where this movie can serve as something that seems familiar, but then also so it shows them that this can be that opportunity that, listen, is like you have, and like Thom said, it's never too late to have that acceptance moment for something that you might have truly had a strong opinion against in your past.
My favorite scene is one that Thom added that I did not write, and it's I think it's the most beautiful moment in the movie when Jacki's character is riding home in the Uber after she helps Allister's character. And that scene just says everything. It's so wonderfully acted, and Jacki looks so luminous. That's what she came to San Francisco for, and he kind of captured that in that very short scene. I tear up every time I've seen it, and I've seen it a lot.
Well, I really love shooting the musical numbers with all of these cats, and I think the Beautiful to Me number is my favorite moment in the film, because it starts out with this intimate moment between Nathan and Maybelline, and it's a song he's written about his love for the late Ricky, and it's just sort of transitions into a big belting number. and the Queens did such a beautiful rocking job with it. I love it. I love the costumes, the performances, and the wigs.
The wigs.
We got through a whole round of questions without a barb in there, so thank you very much for that.
The cuckoo clock went off.
It's still going, baby. Cuckoo.
You froze.
Well, then we move on to what's your least favorite scene, Jack?
My favorite scene was my credit.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna run that now.
Well, Jackie, take it away. You were the give us.
Welcome to the Jackie Beach Show. Well, hopefully he will. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. All right, welcome back.
I had to go to the bathroom. No, kidding. So, personal level, what would you tell your younger self? Something that you know now, like people always say, just chill. It's all. It doesn't. Nothing of it matters. What would you tell your younger self?
Start wearing heels sooner.
Thank you, Oscar. That's good advice for all those drag queen young drag.
Mine would be funny enough so you don't need to wear heels. In all seriousness, I would tell my younger self, everything that you hate about yourself, you will end up embracing and realizing that that's what makes you so special. And don't hide your light under a bushel, and be the magical unicorn you were born to be.
I would tell my younger self that all those horrible bullies that tortured you in small town Nova Scotia will one day be liking the posts about you playing a drag queen in a movie. And it will make you incredibly happy. And then you will block their asses off of all social media.
Mine would be to pay attention to the moments of joy as they're happening. Pay closer attention, like this moment right now.
I would probably take a page out of Maybelline's book and tell the people I love that I love them more often and more generously.
Guys, this was so much fun that we want to see you again. So can you quickly talk about, you may or may not be able to, talk about what you're working on, what we might see next from each of you, just so we can be on the lookout, because, this was so amazing, such a great experience for us that we'd love to sort of have you back. So, Thom, what's going on?
Oh, I'm about to shoot a TV show for Canadian's Gay Channel about an out-of-work actor who turns to online sex work called Camboy.
Starring our own Chappie.
Starring our bartender from Stage Mother, yes.
Oh, great. Cool. Brad?
I am adapting Stage Mother into a stage musical right now, and I just finished my first draft of it yesterday. So we've got a backer and hopefully take it to Broadway someday.
Oh, good luck. Yay. Allie?
I have a queer film coming out on the Canadian Broadcast Corporation that I shot last year. That just had its world premiere at the Queer Festival in Brighton, and will be at Inside Out Festival virtually as well in the fall. So yeah, I'm super excited. It's called Liar.
Liar. Okay. Yay. Jackie?
Well, I am doing a few drag shows of my own from the safety of my home on Instagram Live. Every Wednesday, I do a show called Best Friends Day Wednesday, where I interview one of my best friends, like Bianca Del Rio, Katya, Alaska Thunderfuck, you know, these amazing people. And then on Sundays, because I have to get in drag at least twice a week to remain sane. On Sundays, I actually do a cooking show called Quarantine Cuisine from my kitchen. And it's just an excuse to get in drag and sing a few songs and, you know, eat something I'm not supposed to eat.
More to that, Oscar.
Right now, like the only thing that I'm working on is this video game that's supposed to come out in early winter of next year. Unfortunately, I can't really say much about it, but I'm doing some voiceover work, is what I will say to that.
Cool. Well, we'll look for everybody. We'll listen for you. Thom, can you give us a quick update on? I know the movie opens tomorrow, VOD, and I think some markets that actually have physical theaters are going to be screening it as well. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure, and Brad can help. Stage Mother opens tomorrow in 25 markets around the United States, and is also it's a day-and-date release, which is, I think, the right way to go in these pandemic times. So if you are not in one of those markets, or if you're the kind of person who shouldn't be going out to movie theaters, then it is streaming really on all platforms, Amazon and Hulu and everything but Netflix.
Yep, we're up to 29 theaters actually, and some are drive-ins. They're adding theaters regularly, and people are coming to us to want to screen it. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, all the press this year has been amazing.
Well, thank you for making the film. Thank you for allowing us to screen it. Thank you for being here. I know, you know, we take up your time, but we appreciate it. Thom, Brad, Allie, Jacki, Oscar, we couldn't thank you enough. And good luck with the film, and we hope to see you soon in person.
We wish we were there in person now.
Good to see you guys.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.